When your fuel gauge stops working properly, the problem usually comes from one of three main components: the fuel sending unit inside your tank, the gauge on your dashboard, or the wiring that connects them. Let's start by understanding how a fuel gauge system works. The fuel sending unit sits inside your fuel tank and uses a float mechanism to detect the fuel level. The sending unit works by changing electrical resistance as the fuel level changes. When the float moves up and down with the fuel, it moves a contact across a resistive element, creating different resistance values. The fuel gauge on your dashboard interprets these resistance changes and moves the needle accordingly. Different resistance values correspond to different fuel levels displayed on your gauge. Common problems include a stuck float that can't move freely, a worn-out resistor that gives incorrect readings, or corrosion in the wiring connections that disrupts the electrical signal. Modern vehicles often integrate fuel level sensors with the engine management system. This allows mechanics to use diagnostic scan tools to check for error codes related to the fuel level sensor. Before using diagnostic tools, start with a basic visual inspection. Look for obvious damage, corrosion, or loose connections in the wiring harness. Many fuel gauge problems are actually simple wiring issues. Understanding these basic components and common failure points will help you diagnose fuel gauge problems more effectively. In the next section, we'll cover specific troubleshooting steps and repair techniques. Now we'll walk through the systematic troubleshooting process to diagnose and fix fuel gauge problems. This step-by-step approach will help you identify the root cause efficiently. The first step is testing with a multimeter. This tool allows you to check both resistance and voltage in the fuel gauge circuit, helping you pinpoint electrical issues. Modern vehicles typically use one of two resistance ranges. Most systems operate between 0 and 90 ohms, while some use 240 to 33 ohms. Knowing your vehicle's specification is crucial for accurate diagnosis. Ground connections are critical for accurate readings. Poor grounding is responsible for many fuel gauge problems. Always inspect and clean ground connections as part of your diagnostic process. When accessing the sending unit, you have two main options. You can either drop the fuel tank or use an access panel if your vehicle has one. Access panels can save 60 to 70% on labor costs. The resistor bypass method is a valuable diagnostic technique. By using known resistance values, you can test whether the gauge itself is functioning properly, helping you isolate the problem to either the gauge or the sending unit. Safety is paramount when working with fuel systems. Always have proper safety equipment, including fire extinguishers, and ensure adequate ventilation to prevent fire hazards from fuel vapors. When replacing parts, choose OEM or premium aftermarket components. These offer 3 times longer service life compared to economy replacements, making them more cost-effective in the long run. Finally, modern sending units are designed to withstand ethanol-blended fuels like E10, E15, and E85. This compatibility is important as ethanol can be corrosive to older fuel system components. Following this systematic troubleshooting approach will help you diagnose fuel gauge problems efficiently and safely. Remember to always prioritize safety and use quality replacement parts for lasting repairs.